Hello. Today I will be looking at the topic, the role of youth in civic engagement. I am Honorable Dr. Monique Lynch, the African Union Youth Assembly Country President-elect for Jamaica. Now, today we'll be covering who is considered a youth, what is civic engagement, the goal of civic engagement, the types, examples, why is youth civic engagement important, dispelling myths, and the benefits of youth in civic engagement, and some recommendations. All right, so what is the definition of youth? Now, youth is best understood as a period of transition from the dependence of childhood to adulthood independence. And that's why, as a category, youth is more fluid than other fixed age groups. Now, the African Union defines youth as those persons between the ages of 15 and 35 years, without prejudice to the other definitions by member states. Now, we intentionally define civic engagement broadly to encompass a wide range of actions and behaviors that improves communities and help to solve problems. Now, civic participation can be seen as a continuous activity because you are responsible for developing communities according to their beliefs and values. Now, civic participation requires active engagement, now, which is a combination of knowledge, skills, attitudes, and actions to build a healthy society. As an active person in your society and community, you should be prepared to take action and to participate to create safe, healthy, and sustainable communities. Young people can be a part of civic participation because they too have knowledge and skills to make their society better. Now, an important aspect of civic participation is critical reflection. And this means that while you may love your community and your society, you may still see problems in it that you want to address. And even for persons who hate their communities, you would even see more issues to address. Now, you can listen to community beliefs and values and assess them critically rather than taking them for granted or taking things personal. And I do find that sometimes we take things very personal, and for good civic participation, it is important to recognize that others hold beliefs and values that are different from ours and from our community. Now, what is the goal of civic engagement? The goal is to raise the standard and quality of life in your community through commitment and motivation. Now, young people are considered very important in civic participation because they bring new and innovative ideas. So the types of civic engagement, because youths are so diverse and are the context in which they participate and the issues they face, civic engagement will necessarily mean different things to different groups of young people. As a result, there are many ways to be civically engaged. Number one, political participation. I know we have long focused on youth voting because election happens everywhere in every country and provide valuable opportunities for young people to use their voices and to have a tangible impact. And because voting can serve as an entry point to other kinds of participation, because young people have lives beyond the ballot box that meaningfully influence everything from consumer decisions to media to culture. Some youths, especially for example, young people of color, young people with mental illnesses, and or disabled youth may see and experience their daily lives as political in ways that shape their views and their engagements in civic life. Now, the other types are volunteering, working with neighbors, serving in community organizations such as the District Consultative Committee or the Community Development Committee, participating in social movements. And these would be like the Me Too campaigns, discussing everyday issues that affect us, violence, health, access to health, access to good education, reading the news, and civic and education. Now, civic education is a major key because it can and should help prepare young people for participation in their communities and democracy. It may also incorporate civic engagement as an approach through which students learn while doing. What are some of the examples of civic engagement on social media? Take a look.
Hey guys, thanks for joining us for our third installment of So You Want to Use Civic Engagement on Social Media. In this video, we would like to present you with a few social media movements that have enhanced their real change in civic engagement in our world. Also, we will provide an example of a project that would utilize the different platforms. The examples we're going to use are examples that have large social media presence that both create awareness and also inspire communities to become civically engaged offline. This is an important point we want to keep stressing throughout this series. Social media is a means to an end. At some point in the project or program, real action needs to take place off of social media. It is the means, not the end. If you're just on social media and don't take an active presence in reality, it doesn't reach its fullest potential. When we say the words Ice Bucket Challenge, Black Lives Matter, Loves Win, Herb Spring, and Me Too, you might be able to recall the social event or movement that is associated with them. These movements successfully use social media to build awareness and spark action.
Ice Bucket Challenge utilized Facebook to raise money for ALS. If you are familiar with the campaign, people were tagged in videos of their friends dumping ice water on themselves. It was a chain-link challenge where one friend called out 3 others to either donate money or dump water on themselves, or both. It spread like wildfire across social media and raised over $115 million. There's also a hidden message behind these videos. The ice water was supposed to represent what it felt like to have, or a symptom of, ALS. This campaign raised awareness of the disease in addition to the very successful fundraising mission. This is just one example of how social media can be tapped to enact change in real life. We've created a fictional project to help explain how the different platforms might be used. This Ice Bucket Challenge existed on Facebook, but you don't have to limit yourself to just one platform. As we have shown throughout the series, each has its uses when it comes to civic engagement.
Our project is lifted from an example we used earlier of raising money for schools that need repairs or upgrades. We're calling our project Save Our Schools. Our fictional youth have decided that they want to have real effects on their community. Their plan is multifaceted and uses different platforms to achieve a different goal. The youth decide they want to host a community meeting that includes local businesses, residents, government officials, school board members, and more. They want to raise money through an event and online. The youth also decide to have a work day at the school where they will clean up the grounds outside the school. When their goals have been accomplished, they want to host an open house at the school to celebrate the success and look at the future. They also have plans to create a youth-led board that continues to beautify the community. The first step to create a Facebook presence is in the form of a page. A page holds information about the cause, videos, posts, and event details. This page can be publicly shared to gain awareness about project and gain community support. A group on Facebook will help connect our youth when we aren't together physically. It'll be our private group to plan activities and events. A fundraising campaign on Facebook can help with the goal to raise money and to track progress of our funds. And Facebook livestream can be used during the community meeting and the workday to additionally raise awareness and allow people from all over to take part in the community gathering if they are unable to be there physically.
On Twitter, our youth will tweet about the project with hashtag SaveOurSchools to create awareness about their efforts and why people should support their cause. On Instagram, our youth will share photos of their renovations, work days, group meetings, and other events. This will help build awareness in their group of friends, which can also act as recruitment for more members in the project. Snapchat can be used to document the events, just like Instagram, just not permanently. We will also create a geo-filter for the cleanup day to spread awareness to other youth. And finally, our youth will create a promo-like video on YouTube to share across other platforms. This can serve as a way to get the community excited about the progress being made and advertisement. We've mentioned it before, but remember, you don't have to use all the platforms. Use what makes sense and what you have the time for. We wanted to give you an example of what a project might look like, but the sky is the limit. For more ideas, go to the link below. And join us in our next video about picking topics for civic engagement.
Okay, so what are some of the issues that are affecting your community? Take a little book and a pen and write down these issues and see how you can be civically engaged. Next, we want to speak on why is youth civic engagement important? Now, our communities and our democracy become more just and equitable when all people individually and collectively get involved and take action. Now, one reason to focus on youth civic engagement is that such participation is like a habit like any other. Starting early can form a habit of civic engagement that will last a lifetime. Now, when all young people develop healthy civic habits, skills, and commitment, our democracy will prosper. We believe that this will happen when more and more diverse young people have access to opportunities that will build their skills and knowledge and empower them to effect change. Decision-making becomes more representative and communities benefit. In fact, youth civic engagement is critical for a variety of reasons. Young people, while not an inflexible group, share certain characteristics that have the potential to make them powerful civic actors, and their participation carries benefits. Now, they have unique perspectives on local issues, national issues, regional issues, and they often bring new ideas to the table, and they can be an inexhaustible source of energy and passion for social change. So what are the 4 important key coming out of why it is important for youth to participate in civic engagement? 1, for democracy. 2, for communities. 3, for youth. And 4, for equity. Now, what are some of the myths surrounding youth civic engagement, and how do we address these? Take a look.
There are lots of misconceptions about young people and civic actions. Myth number 1, civic action just means voting. Nope, voting is just one example of a civic action. Other examples include challenging rules and policies in your school, your neighborhood, or your government. It can mean calling your reps, attending a town hall, or marching in a protest. It could be advocating for change with your teacher, your principal, or your city council. In other words, lots of stuff counts. Civic action is all about influencing decision makers and pushing to improve policies, practices, and systems that affect our world. Myth number 2, voting doesn't matter. Wrong, your vote definitely does matter. There are tons of elections that have been decided by only a few votes. For example, a state election last year was tied, so the winner was selected by drawing names out of a hat, literally. In a 2014 election in Louisiana, one race was decided by just 1%. Who pushed the winner over the top? Young people, who supported that candidate more than any other group. Myth number 3, there isn't another election until 2020. Nope, the 2018 midterms are held on November 6, 2018, and there are hundreds of local elections in each state. Check out resources from Rock the Vote and other organizations linked with this video. Myth number 4, voting and protesting are the only ways to make your voice heard. Wrong, you can get involved in a ton of ways. Sign up for a Do Something campaign, volunteer, attend marches, donate to causes, or call your elected officials. You can use the 5 Calls app to make 5 calls to lawmakers in just 5 minutes. The app even provides scripts you can read directly. Myth number 5, you have to be 18 years or older and a citizen to call your congressperson. False. The U.S. Constitution ensures equal representation for all individuals living in the U.S., regardless of income, race, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, age, or immigrant status. Non-citizens and people under 18 have the right to have their voices heard by their representatives in Congress, even if they lack the right to vote in elections. When you get in touch with your rep, you may be asked for your zip code so they know you live in the area and are someone that they represent. Remember that providing this information is strictly voluntary. No one is required to provide any additional information such as address, social security number, or immigration status. One vote matters. Your vote matters. And together, our votes have the collective power to decide the future of the country we want to see.
Yes, so we have this saying in Jamaica that your vote matters. One vote matters. And a lot of young persons believe that their votes will not change circumstances, but your vote carries a voice. It carries your stance on what you believe in. So even if it does not have a general effect, you in yourself will appreciate the fact that your voice, you made your voice to be heard. Now, a lot of young persons are saying, what are the benefits of being civically engaged? So there are 5 benefits. Number 1, it aids in mental wellness. Now, mental illness is one of the many widespread health challenges, and this is worldwide, and the condition surrounding it is complex and multi-causal. This means that there's not one cause to having a mental illness, and the reason behind it are usually very complex and very difficult to understand. However, many people often assume that mental health and mental illness are the same things. They are not. Everyone has a mental health, but over the course of a lifetime, not everyone will develop a mental illness. So mental health is just the way we think, the way we feel, and the way we act. Mental illness is a clinically diagnosable disorder affecting the way we think, the way we behave, and the way we act. 2 different things. Now, many people often assume that mental illness runs simply in families. This can be true, but genetics are only a small part of it. These disorders actually occur due to a combination of factors, and this includes a person's environment and their lifestyle. Now, the world a person lives in and functions within can play a major role in mental health. There are 2 types of environmental factors that can make a person susceptible to mental illness. Number 1, the physical environmental factors. Now, these factors have the power to affect a person's biology and neurochemistry, thereby increasing their chances of developing a disorder. For example, if a person lacks access to health-related resources, such as whole nutrient-rich foods, and they tend to eat more processed and refined foods, their body and brain won't function optimally. And as a result, if they encounter any major situation, any major stressor, they may not have the resources to effectively cope. Number 2, social environmental factors. Now, these factors morally refers to the socioeconomic, racial, ethnic, and relational conditions that may influence a person's ability to cope with stress. Now, a good example is not having a strong social support system. Now, researchers have linked youth civic engagement to a very big health benefit: fewer symptoms of depression and anxiety. Now, a study in the journal Youth Development says events like volunteering and voting can even lower substance misuse and risky health-related behaviors. Number 2 benefit: youths feel and be empowered. Now, whether it's canvassing for neighborhood for signatures, or advocating for human rights, or advocating for trafficking against women and girls, violence against women and girls, or electing a class president, civic engagement helps youth to develop focus, self-awareness, and confidence. committed to a cause they really care about can teach young persons valuable skills like time management, collaboration, networking, and even fundraising. Number three, benefits the building up of communities. Now, advocacy may already be a part of some young people's lives, even if you don't know it. We all advocate when things affect us, when things affect the people that we care about. We often speak out when there are opportunities or when there are things that we don't like. We often take that opportunity to speak out. That is advocacy, speaking out on behalf of an issue or a person that is being affected. Now, when devastating issues like gun violence, like kidnapping or mental illness reaches schools and homes and churches, advocacy gives youth a voice they may not have had before. Now, advocacy can show young people how local, regional, and national political processes work. All right, number four, they'll be investing in their future. Now, studies have shown that civic engagement of young people is positively associated with future gains in income and education. The life skills your child learns or the life skills that a young person learns from civic engagement can make them stronger adults. Now, the final benefit is that they'll find empathy for others. And this is something that is lacking in our society today, empathy. Now, community involvement can expose young people to working with other persons of diverse cultures. And this now will help them to see the value in kindness. And now we move on to our final subtopic, the recommendations to improve or increase youth civic engagement. Now, the first recommendation is to improve civic literacy. Now, adding civic education to curriculums in all schools is a very important step that all officials from each country ought to implement. Number two, let younger voice lead. Oftentimes, we as young people, we complain that we don't often get a seat at the table. So inviting youths to sit at the table where decisions are made, whether it is to have a youth representative or to have several think tanks. And a think tank is basically where young people from each organization come together and they discuss and provide solutions to topical issues. Now, integrating youth voices more fully into public discussions shows respect for their position and demonstrates their value to the broader community. And the third and final recommendation is to increase opportunities for generations to interact. And we often heard that, we as a young Gen Z, we do things different or we operate different from the generations before us. And oftentimes the difference between us work against us. So increased engagement is negated if our society maintains our individualistic me first mindset. Now, if older and younger people understand each other's perspectives, they'll also understand each other's needs better and approach policy ideas with more of an open mind and a preference for the greater good. So this is the importance and the role of how youth civic engagement can improve our societies. And this is societies not only in your community, not only in your country, in your region, in your continent, but globally. I'm happy that you would have stayed with me until the end of this presentation. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you would have learned something about civic engagement and particularly youth civic engagement. And I hope this presentation will empower you to take a topical issue and let your voice be heard. Stand up for something or you will fall for anything. My name is Dr. Monique Lynch. I am the African Union Youth Assembly president-elect for Jamaica, you can contact me by my email, monique.a.lynch@gmail.com. Thank you.